there's a lot of content and there's a bunch of reading, and I really want you to hear the reading. And so I'll do the high notes on the reading. We'll mostly do readings, yeah? But that one that he said, you got to give up attachments if you want to get out of the world, right? People are unable to give up the world because of their attachments and craving for material gain and the like. He's talking, and the like means there's inner and outer things that ruin our capacity for concentration. And specifically what they're referring to here in the inner is the attachment to me and mine. The thing actually I wanted to get you at in the meditation to see if that sprang up, yeah? The identity to me being the way you think of yourself, yeah, as some kind of self-existent thing, and mine, my head, my arms, my identity, my so on. And there's some things, to go inward, you need to let go of some things, and this is one of the things you might not, one of the hardest things to let go of, this thing that we think we are. So that's what he's referring to here. And so out of the two big ideas that he talks throughout this chapter in meditation, the one about meditating throughout the day, having ting and zin throughout the day, single focus concentration on keeping your practice and keeping your alertness and knowing why you're there and working through your mental afflictions in your defensive mode, versus going deep in a meditative state on your cushion at home to build up habit and then eventually go in retreat and go deep. Which of the two do you think serves this one? One to get rid of the attachment of me and mine. Yeah, that's where you're going to. Yeah, so the everyday meditation that he's talking about is just like fending off and building muscle against your mental afflictions. The one in deep retreat, if you get to go through the process of the whole meditation, 9 stages of meditations, etc., you will get to cut the root of mental afflictions. You will get to see emptiness directly, the nature of which all things have, and therefore nothing can be the way we think that they are, right? Having that experience can only happen in deep meditation. So he's saying to get rid of that inner obstacle to concentration, the attachment to me and mine, you're going to need that kind of meditation. And here's some links for some of your words, okay? We have, you know the word ignorance in Buddhism, right? And you see it as the pig in the wheel of life, right? So we have ignorance. What does it mean to you every day, though, when you're thinking ignorance? Because in the West, to me, that means I'm stupid. You know, like I still have that association, I'm ignorant, yeah? The real meaning of ignorance, you know, is why does ignorance cause us so much problem? Ignorance of not knowing the nature of things, not knowing them. You might
awareness. Lack of awareness.
It's much deeper than that. It's much, much deeper than that. Ignorance places itself in the day-to-day experience of our lives because we think of things as me and mine, the inner causes, right? And then we do all sorts of stupid things to defend that identity, that persona, that thing. They're not misdeeds because someone said naughty. You shouldn't have done that naughty thing. They're misdeeds because it acts on not knowing. I don't know that I don't have that nature of being this kind of Hector. Really, I go about my day thinking I am this because that's the way that we're used to working, because that's what serves this experience that we're having for now. But it serves us in a limited way, in a samsaric way, in a continuous cycling way. That is inevitably razor blade on honey on a razor blade. Right? So we habituate this negativity that we do to defend me and mine. That's ignorance. We do it ignorantly in defense of this self-existent me. Yeah? You got to protect Hector. You got to protect Rachel. You know, and this you got to protect Emily, you got to do it. You know, this conceptualization that we have. So when he's talking about the two things, he's talking about the inner, and then the outer is the attachment we have to, now that's obvious, right? If I have that car, if I have that house, if I have that thing, everything's going to be okay. So I'll spend a whole bunch of time pursuing and doing those things, and then the more you habituate to get that, the more you think that's the way to live. And so I usually spend some time listening to the streets before I come here, just to get a few little secret signals. And I got this beautiful voice in the distance, and I followed it, and it was this guy giving this other guy advice, and he had the nicest voice. It was really calm, and I'm like, I'm getting some wisdom. And I got closer. I'm stalking people, yeah. And I got, I really am. And no, but I am. I just follow. I went to see his face, and then I'm like, there's a voice. I'll follow. Keep my eyes down, and I follow. And he's like, listen, I'm trying to copy him. There's so many hot chicks in New York City. When you talk to a hot chick like that, don't give her the impression that you're going to be all that into her, because New York is New York. And I'm like, oh my God, like, we're talking about this for real. This is not parody. This is not a thing. And then he gave this guy advice on how to keep this hot chick on the coals, so she's got the tension for, external pursuit. So that's going to make me happy. He's going to get the hot chick with his tricks, right? It was strange to hear. So we have attachment. We think something out there is going to fix it. So he then tells us about what's going to stop attachments, David. And listen for the trick word in the first 2 lines. Yeah.
Understand first the fact that vision married close to quietude destroys the mental afflictions. Begin then by seeking quietude. It in turn is achieved by the bliss of losing attachment for the world.
I think this is brilliant. Okay, can you read it again?
Please.
Yeah.
Understand first the fact that vision married close to quietude destroys the mental afflictions. Begin then by seeking quietude. It in turn is achieved by the bliss of losing attachment for the world.
So I'm going to ask you to do it in reverse. For those of you who have been studying and you know the mantra, right? What destroys mental afflictions? He says, understand first the fact that vision married with quietude destroys mental afflictions. Don't interpret it. What destroys mental afflictions?
Wisdom perception.
What kind of wisdom? What was it?
The direct perception.
Yeah, that one, right? So check that out. Special vision, right? If you put special vision, a special vision, it's a word in there in Tibetan. I don't have the Tibetan. Understand that vision, yeah, married with quietude, a specific kind of concentration, married with quietude, we've got to go find that word, destroys the mental afflictions. Those 2 things. And then he tells you which order to take them up, which is stunning. He goes, begin then by seeking quietude. Start by training your mind. Get yourself in Shine. Get yourself in Shamatha. Learn that first, he's saying. And then point that powerful laser to wisdom. There is a secret on how to completely transform your life. You have all the skills to be able to, first of all, train your mind. I don't care if you've been doing it for 20 years and you're failing like me. Yeah? Start today. Again, learn your mind through practicing Shine, Shamatha. And then once you build that up, slowly start pointing it to virtuous objects until you get the ultimate object, which is emptiness, the lack of inherent existence in things, to whatever you have to fill your mind with. So first do that and then point it that way. In turn, begin by seeking quiet. It in turn is achieved by the bliss of losing attachment for the world. It's saying here you get some kind of bliss, and he'll talk about that in a second. So let me give you, so he's talking about wisdom and meditation, right? Those 2 things. And I'm going to give you, Geshe Michael spent a bunch of time, which I can't, and I'm not a Tibetan, but I've got the English definition for both Shine, which is calling meditative quietude, shamatha, and he'll give you the scriptural definition so we don't go around thinking it's something else. Okay, so take this down. So Shine in Tibetan, shamatha, Sanskrit, meditative quietude, which is what his Master Shantideva is saying we should get. The definition is that single-mindedness which is infused with the extraordinary bliss of practice ease, meaning you get some kind of bliss of body because you've practiced something, due to the single-pointed concentration on its object.
You said that again?
Yeah. That single-mindedness which is infused with the extraordinary bliss. That single-mindedness which is infused with that extraordinary bliss of practice ease. Practiced ease. Due to deep single-pointed concentration on its object.
So meaning that the object could be anything?
Here we go. Good question. I'm glad you asked. I was about to clarify because that was my question too. What kind of object could it be if it's a meditation, if it's a concentration?
Anything.
Anything where?
Anything that your mind can perceive.
So it's in your mind, okay? And I think in the Lamrim Chemo, Jetson Kappa spends a ton of time in the definition of Shine to clarify that it's not just sense object, okay? That it is a consciousness, it's an object of the mind, like you said. So it can be anything, but it's in the mind. It's a mental, it's a consciousness, yeah, that you're focused on. It's not open-eyed meditation on the picture of the Buddha, for example, unless you recognize that that picture of the Buddha is in your mind. That makes some sense there. So it's single-mindedness. It gives this kind of extraordinary practice, like an athlete knows how to do, and you get some kind of bliss of body for having done that thing, and you get that of mind. It's single-pointed on an object, and it's a mental image. And for those of you doing the Bodhisattva vows, it refers to not considering the pleasant sensation of meditation as
the
goal, right? Because as you evolve in your capacity for developing this kind of concentration, you will get practiced ease and you could get stuck there. Yeah, if you have not had a direct perception of ultimate reality, you're unlikely to know for certain that you can terminate death. And until then, you're stuck in samsara. So getting in a little loop at this extraordinary bliss of practice ease is danger, danger, danger. And all the commentaries say, don't get stuck there. Some people misconceive that as nirvana, some people, and so on. But you will know when you're not there. I know we're going to go 15 minutes late, and I don't mind. Shine, bliss.
Hector, I have a quick question.
Yep, it has
So
to be.
with shamatha, is it clear that that is not the goal, like the ultimate goal within this definition?
That what is not the goal?
That attaining shamatha is not the goal, but it's a step.
No, it's absolutely. I mean, Master Shantideva said, understand first that special vision or extraordinary vision or vision, which is wisdom, yeah, married closely with shamatha, yeah, is the only way you're going to get rid. If you just have shamatha, like the baseball player with the ball coming over to some other object, you're not getting out of samsara, yeah. And the vow also states that, right? Don't get lost in the blissful sensation of Shine.
Right.
Just one thing about the object of meditation. Actually, in Buddhist texts there is a specification of different objects, and each one has another effect. Like we used to do a lot of this meditation on rotting corpse, like
Mhm.
monks, so they
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have desires and stuff. So they will just look at them like for days as they collapse and all kind of crazy things like that. And so it's like there's place where the object really does matter, and then there's a level which when you get to specific level it doesn't matter anymore.
Okay, cool. So Shine is the most powerful meditation you can do. It's the place from which you can have an experience of emptiness. Anyone can do it, Master Shantideva says. And you understand now, I don't have to give you the spiel about trying to, your whole goal for life is to have or get close or see that thing that is described as the direct perception of emptiness. Everything we do is geared towards that. Up until then, you're in the lottery. Whatever great things you're doing, they're great things, but you've not put an end to suffering. You've not cut the root of mental afflictions. You're just up for another battle when the game pressed reset, someone turned off the power of the game, bing, it's time to go again, load the program. Yeah? And then Geshe Michael gave a big spiel about don't call Shine calm abiding. Yeah? And it confused me when I first heard it, and I wanted to give you a quick download on that. Calm abiding is one of the ways that this was translated, and is translated in many of these texts. And he goes, I'm not putting anyone down, or any text, or any translation down, but it really doesn't give the state of mind justice. There's nothing calm about it. Like, it's not like you have to be calm as you are aware that you've got some terminal illness. It's not about staying calm while samsara is around you. Single-pointed concentration, this kind of shamatha, right? It's not like you're abiding in calm. Yeah, because calm is the worst response you could have to stimuli that is going to hurt you. So he went on and on and on about that. He says, remember the Buddha's goal. The Buddha's goal is to slash away at the mental afflictions, and that is understanding the cause of all of them, that ignorance that does not see where things truly come from.
But during meditation, you're calm.
I know, but it could be misleading to the Western world, is what he said. Yeah, and I want to share that with you because it has helped me many years later when you get into philosophical inquiry about what it is that you're doing after you come out of meditation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so sure. I want to share that. And then the second part of that, so we talked about the meditation because he said meditation and wisdom. The wisdom part is called hlaptong, and that in Sanskrit is vipassana. And I'll give you the definition of that.
How do you spell hlaptong?
Hlaktung. Hlaptong. And this is this wisdom that perceives emptiness. The definition is that wisdom which is infused. If you could carry these two definitions with you and read them, they'll make more sense as you go along. That wisdom which is infused with the extraordinary bliss, so it's a special kind of knowing, yeah, and it's colored with that extraordinary bliss of practiced ease because you've done that thing over and over and over, and you have what's the word?
Habit?
Nobility? No, what's the word? It's
Endurance?
huh?
Facility.
It's more than facility.
Required.
No. There's a word exactly fits it, and I don't have English at the moment. Practiced ease, meaning by the power of analysis on its object, all based on a foundation of quietude, which is shamatha. So that wisdom which is infused with the extraordinary bliss of practiced ease. So it's that knowing which is got this bliss that we talked about before because you've habituated it and now you're so familiar, or whatever that word is.
Can you say it again slowly?
Yeah. That wisdom which is infused with the extraordinary bliss of practiced ease, comma, by the power of analysis of its object, all based upon a foundation of shamatha, quietude. Remember the three types of meditation that we could have early on in the meditation? You have review meditation, you have single pointed, and you have analytical, right? So let's see if you know what, by the power of analysis of its object. Let's go, what's the object of a single pointed meditation? What could be, give me an example of an object you might be single focused on.
Our mind.
Huh? Your lama, your mind, etc. Yeah?
Your breath.
Your breath, yeah, exactly. So just so it's not just a definition, so it's practiced, so it's a thought through. What's an object that you might place your state of mind on if you're doing a review meditation? Let's say you're reviewing the steps of the Lamrim or something.
The Lama.
Thank you. And thank you, that was a trick question. My mom used to ask me this question when I was little. What color was the white horse of such and such, right? And I'm like, I know this one. Yeah. He was white. And the analytical meditation, let's say you were doing analysis on whether or not you thought past lives were true. And so you had a whole bunch of information around past lives and a whole bunch of doubts on the other side and questions and debates, and you're doing an internal debate. What's the object there?
Ideas of past life.
All that stuff. Good. Just want to make sure. Covered that. Let's go to the reading 4, 5, and 6. They're short enough you can do them together.
How is it that one so impermanent could ever feel such sheer attachment for other impermanent things? This will prevent you, for 1,000 future lives, from seeing anything beautiful at all. Those fleeting friends and relatives can bring destruction, even the Dharma. Can bring to destruction even the Dharma, that indestructible sphere. If I spend my time with children on my same level, then I will go with certainty to the lower realms. If being with them leads me down to a different level, then why is it I choose to stay with children? Not even the victorious Buddhas possess the ability to please all beings, so different in their wishes. Needless to say then, someone as low as me could never do so, thus give up all thought of the world. People put down those who have no money and say bad things about those who do have money. If their very nature is that they are so difficult to be with, how then could I ever make them happy?
Wait, can you read the last part again?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Yeah, go. It's,
People put down those who have no money and say bad things about those who do have money. If their very nature is that they are so difficult to be with, how then could I ever make them happy?
Do you understand what he's saying? He's saying, look, it doesn't matter. It says people that are poor, we're like, I hate them, right? They're terrible. Oh, right? People that have money, oh, they're so terrible. I hate them. So these people that we're in, us included, right? They're so difficult to be around. You know, how could we make them happy? in that way of being. Yeah, why am I there? So he's talking here in general about the defensive, is that right? The defense state of mind that you're walking around. He's talking about family, and he's talking about the way we deal with people with money and no money and so on. He's like, we're just with children. We're all playing the same game. Everyone's falling on their faces. Some have a little bit more of something for a little while, and then they lose it, and then we're happy that they lost it, and then like we're all in this pretty shitty game together, and we're like worried about little tiny differentiations between us. Here he says, he describes 5 obstacles to meditation that we should be addressing, and this is the kind of meditation, 5 obstacles to the kind of meditation of every day, of walking around. It's one of your vows as well as a Bodhisattva. So from Arya Nagarjuna, from Letter to a Friend, they describe these 5 obstacles to this kind of walking around daily meditation to deal with all these things he's just described. So here they go. I'll just list them. Yeah. So this comes from Arya Nagarjuna, Letter to a Friend. It's about keeping your mind alert and so on, right? These are the things that are obstacles. So to have a restless desire, meaning your mind is jumping from thing. If you're busy and you've got this activity and that activity and that activity, and your mind is jumping from thing to thing, or even daydreaming, one day I'll be, and you have that kind of state of mind, this undermines your capacity for that prophylactic meditation. Yeah. The next thing he says, feelings of malice towards other people, like building up to anger. Interestingly, right, the first one, feeling restless, we have so much of that. We're always thinking, I've got to do this. We have so much of that. And yet the second one, feelings of malice and anger, we have it much less, but it's much more powerfully destructive to our state of mind to enable us to have concentration. The next one is a kind of dullness. He says dullness that you can prevent in your everyday thing by not eating too much, not eating too late, not having enough sleep. Like you can do things to your life so you don't have this kind of dullness and you're walking around like you've been on the iPhone for 2 hours and then you're just zombied out. You have the power to prevent that obstacle to meditation. And then he says, attraction to sense objects or objects of the senses, meaning you're really into that food and you really want to go to the nuances of the ultimate flavors of coffee and sex and touching and colors, and like you're really into just sense pleasures. That can build up a habit. Not that they're bad from their own side, it's just that your mind then hasn't got the capacity to build up the kind of awareness you need throughout the day to fend off the mental afflictions. And lastly, destructive doubt. And this kind of doubt, it's funny, because when I heard this for the first time, I think, what is it when they're selling you the solution to the problem? They're just selling their own system or something. This is a feedback loop, self-promotions or something like that. Of course they don't want you to have any doubt, right? But after years of having a ton of doubt about all this stuff, I know what he's talking about. And they're talking about specifically, what was it? He said it was destructive doubt. This is laziness, right? So let's say we read or we go to class or we study and the information is there about emptiness or about how karma works or about how to develop a meditation practice. The information is there and it's clear and blah. And you're just choosing to have a little bit about doubt about this or that and so on, but you don't go and put the effort, the working effort or the deeper effort that's required to understand it and put it into your life. That part, that last part, and put it into your life. Because it's much easier to sit there and go, I'm not sure about karma, or I'm not sure. Like, get sure about it. And if your sureness says, no, it doesn't exist, then leave it on the shelf. No, until it's fixed. Yeah? We have enough instruction about a whole bunch of things. Imagine getting rid of a bunch of doubt. Some of it requires effort. And I didn't put that effort at the beginning, and so I carried a ton of these big question marks, and some of them you can just get rid of by analyzing and then doing the work to put them in. Buddhists are required to have doubt, and this is what was clarified for me much later. You're required to have analysis over things that don't make sense. Yeah, you put them on the shelf. Because if it comes in a whole package, if you get a whole bag of medicine to cure your every illness, and you're like, I don't like the color of that red pill, right? But all these other pills are working really well. Maybe there's something about that red pill for you. Maybe you don't take it now. Maybe you look at it. Yeah, so that's what they're referring to here. There's 2 more longish readings. So you're invited to stay or you're welcome to go. It's up to you. Okay, but we'll probably go till 10. David, number 7 and 8 together.
When you live in the forest, neither the wild animals nor the birds nor trees ever say something unpleasant. May there come a day when I may stay living together with these new friends, so very easy to live with. May I come to live in a cave somewhere, or in some abandoned temple, or else at the foot of a forest tree. May the day never come that I look back at all. May I reach a place where I've finished with every attachment. May I one day live on the land that no one thinks is something they own, by nature open and wide. May I stay there living free to do whatever I please, and totally free of feelings of attachment. May I come to pass all of my days deep in the woods, from this moment till the hour comes when those of the world are wrapped in grief, and 4 strong men come to lift me up and lead me forward from that place. You reach a place where there's no friend, nor anyone for your suspicions. Your body lives in isolation, alone. There comes a day when you consider yourself already dead, and there's no grief when death arrives.
And so here he's talking about developing the kind of offensive concentration, the one that you have to go in isolation. And he says, first of all, you isolate yourself from the social context, right, from external things. You go away from the temptations that you have in New York City. You go away. Physically, you remove yourself. And then, as part of physically, socially, you remove yourself. On a daily basis, you sit in your meditation cushion. You're not listening to anybody. You're like that. And lastly, mentally, you remove yourself and you build up that habit so then when you do come back to your home, you can be centered and hold that centered. So they're the 3 isolations he's talking about. Well, 2 really. Physically, which includes physical and social, but not hanging around the friend who just wants to gossip, because you're developing that thing. Not that your friend is terrible. You're required to help your friend. But if it's not within your capacity, you isolate yourself from the stimuli that will force that kind of response and build up your resistance slowly. Retreat, the real isolation, will get you deep into the habit of understanding how your mind works. So that energy can be brought back into the world when it's time. You can do number 9. He'll give you now advice on our most active endeavors on the planet. He's going to talk about our continuous search for partners. And he's going to look at it from a perspective of get enlightened, okay?
Men and women lovers first make their propositions to get the thing they want. And so too, for this thing, avoid no evil deed nor any loss of their own reputation. Engage in even actions which are dangerous for them, exhausting their material wealth as well. Think of those objects you hold in your arms to find your feelings of ecstasy. These very same things are nothing more than simple skeletons. Why do you pass up traveling on to nirvana, choosing instead to crave and believe in a thing which is helpless, a thing which has never possessed any nature of being itself? At the beginning you strive to raise it up, and even should you reveal it, she looks demurely to the ground. Go though in advance to where the faces are wrapped in cloth regardless of whether someone looks or not. Why is it now you turn and flee when a vulture comes and reveals to you that very same thing, the lovely face that stands right now exposed to your sight, the object of the afflictions of your mind?
So he's saying we do all sorts of crazy things, right? We put ourselves in all sorts of weird situations to find a partner. And really we're dancing with corpses, like we're kissing corpses. He's saying, when the veil or the vulture reveals the veil, we're dancing with the dead already. We just think we're like, the whole world is like that. And we do all sorts of compromising things to try and keep that partner or be with that partner. Some people go put themselves in physical risk to be with somebody. And so he gives them advice, the 5 advices to courting, but he does it sarcastically. He's like, one of the things we do is beg. We beg for someone to really like us. We put ourselves in front of them and so on. We don't avoid any kind of negative action to get there. We might push someone out of the way. We might lead and cheat and lie. We don't even mind looking stupid in front of people, ruin our reputation, to try and get that thing. And even reckless behavior. I mean, just for the pursuit of a body, how many sexually transmitted diseases do we pass on in the world just to have a body, another body to play with. And then we use all sorts of resources, we dress up nice and so on. He's basically saying, cut the crap. Don't think that there's something out there that is going to make you happy. If you find somebody, get enlightened together. Like focus on meditating together. Or don't waste time. Time is, the veil of death is coming over them. Anyway, it doesn't matter how much you enjoy the flesh in an unexamined way. The flesh is dead already. You're just waiting for time. So then the next part, he's talking about living in the cemetery. To 10 and 11.
Our entire planet is chaos and filled with madmen created by the struggle of ignorance with a self. Your heart fails whenever you go to a burial ground and see nothing there but stacks of sun-dried bones. Why then is it you take such pleasure here in the city, a cemetery covered with bones in motion? If children find themselves unable to build up wealth, then as adults, what will they have to make them happy? If then they devote their lives to collecting money, they'll only get old. So what will they do with the thing they wanted? Some poor souls who live for things go and exhaust themselves completely, laboring till the day is done. They come back home and throw their bodies dissipated, just like corpses, on their beds and sleep. Some distressed are sent on missions and go through different sufferings far away from home. They have a craving for a woman, but in the course of an entire year, can't even lay their eyes on one. These are ignorant ones who, hoping to bring some good to themselves, sell themselves for some purpose. Then, without attaining the thing they wanted, they're driven on by the wind of meaningless work for others.
He's basically saying you have an option. You can do the 12, 18-hour days to get the career and the thing, and you will get some benefit, and you will get some things. But it's like a wasted life if you can live an examined life. Because all of it, doesn't matter how early you start learning these 18-hour days, it's all lost, really. It's all lost, really. Now, he's not saying don't go to work. He doesn't say don't make your keep. What's the word?
Earn your keep.
Earn your keep. Yeah. But if you think you're going to find peace, if you're really going to find an ultimate answer in working your ass off, in building a career, in selling your physical body for somebody else to direct it at a job, or your own business or whatever, until you exhaust yourself and you come home and you drop dead year after year after year after year in your most powerful moments of your life where your mind is sharp, when your capacity is strong, out of all the possible things you're going to put it on, there is no peace to be found there. It's just more of the same, out of all the things you can do on the planet, unexaminedly. Now, as a Bodhisattva, you'll later be required to do that kind of effort and do that kind of work with the correct motivation. So don't misunderstand it, okay? Lastly, number 12.
Some go and barter their very bodies, thus losing their freedom and becoming slaves at the bidding of others. The women get pregnant and bear their children wherever they can, in some protected hollow or at the foot of a tree. Some fools, deceived by thoughts of desire and hoping to live on, say to themselves, I need these to support myself. They march then to battle, for you never know if you'll have to give your life, and thus for profit they serve as servants. In this world we also see others driven by desire, who are cut to pieces, or else impaled the length of their bodies upon a pole, or pierced throughout with spears, and even burned alive as well. You must understand how money then is an endless waste of life, in the torment of collecting and keeping and losing it.
And it's hard to hear in our American context, yeah, because so much of our capitalist existence is based around the value of having money and income. But you think if you do have a shot for real at waking up, at seeing a thing about this existence that can save everybody from the sufferings we experience every day, truly being able to connect to something in your experience of life that says, I saw something beyond the limits of what I think is here. Maybe that's worth spending the 20-hour days, 15-hour days on, if you have a chance at it. So then we go back to the lazy Tao, to about checking what you know and what you don't know and what you commit to. Yeah, because you can still do the 10, 20, 30-hour days, with the right motivation, and it can be an extreme bliss. But we're talking about an unexamined one. So here is his advice about how to engage your everyday, your single everyday mind. What are you here for? What is your focus? What are the distractions to that kind of concentration that you need to build up to be so steadfast day to day? And then a couple of times a year, a few weeks a year, pull yourself out of it all and get supercharge that fuel, get stronger and stronger and stronger. Do the isolation and do the offensive meditations until you see how it all fits together. Until then, it's a lottery. Yeah. Next week, same channel, we'll talk about the importance of love and compassion. We finished at 10. Yay. Thank you for your time. Please keep it in your hearts, yeah, even though it might be difficult to hear and we rushed it. May it stay in your hearts and may it pop into your mind when you need it most. And I hope it's always.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you for teaching.
I skipped